Hello, people of YouTube land, and those that are part of the Cringe Crew Gaming Community Discord, those that follow Ted Eye and Hayley on Twitch, and those that are listening to this on Spotify or whatever audio streaming platform that this gets put on. I am Traductus.
I'm Ted.
I'm Hayley.
And this is the Cringe Crew Gaming movie review podcast, and we are still doing the slasher film week that Hayley picked out. And I'd say, Hayley, you definitely picked a good one on this with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What?
Haley's face says she doesn't think so.
Get to that.
I disagree, but whatever.
Get to it.
But anyway, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a 1974 American horror film directed by Tobe Hooper, who also directed Poltergeist. And he also also in the miniseries Salem's Lot, and that's basically wait. Oh no, the sci-fi miniseries of Taken. Okay, never mind. I thought, like, wait, he actually directed Taken, but no.
We'll find you.
But that being said, like I said, released in 1974, released October 11th, 1974, and had a budget of $80,000 to $140,000, and got $30.9 million in the box office.
That's a return on investment. Fuck almighty.
Yeah. The screenplay was written by Tobe Hooper and Kim Henkel, and despite the, whole entire quote-unquote this is based on a true story, it is very, very loosely based on multiple murderer Ed Gein, or as I say, multiple murderer is because Ed Gein was only confirmed to have killed 2 people, and for a serial killer it's 3, so yeah, 3 or more. So, but
Semantics.
Regardless, the only thing that this movie has any ties to Ed Gein is Ed Gein would, wear human skin and also, rob graves and then make, furniture out of, the body parts.
Just an Etsy salesman. Just an Etsy salesman.
Ed Gein is also the inspiration for Norman Bates and Psycho, and also Buffalo Bill and Silence of the Lambs.
Inspiration seems like a wrong word to use, but, whatever works, I guess.
Just trust me, a lot of these horror films do take tidbits from real life, but needless to say that this movie is obviously not actually a true fucking story. It is, for the most part, completely fiction. Not the first movie to really do the whole this was totally based on a true story. If I remember right, I think Reefer Madness did it first, which is a 1930s film saying marijuana's bad, and the movie basically depicts like a bunch of teenagers, they smoke pot and then they basically rape and kill people. Because that's how that works.
Okay.
It was also made into a musical, which is actually very hilarious. But we're actually talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre here, so that way I don't go completely off track. Now, for the cast, we have Marilyn Burns as Sally Hardacity. We have Alan Danziger as Jerry. Paul A. Partain as Franklin Hardesty, which, by the way, the person that plays Franklin was in character throughout the entire fucking shooting process. Not actually in the wheelchair, but being annoying and just generally just being annoying and obnoxious. So therefore, the cast frustration with him in the movie is real life fucking frustration towards the actor. So that animosity and frustration was very, very real. And it wasn't until years later when they realized that he was just in character. They thought he was actually like that.
Love that.
Let's see. William Vale as Kirk, Terry McKinn as Pam, Edwin Neal as the hitchhiker, which in the sequel we find out that his name was Nubbin Sawyer, Jim Saito as the old man who is later in the sequel given a role of named Drayton Sawyer, and then we have Gunnar Hansen as Leatherface. Or, Bubba Sawyer when we find out in the sequel. Also, John Duggan as grandfather. Now, going back to the cast, Gunnar Hansen to prepare for the role since Leatherface is supposed to be mentally deficient. Gunnar Hansen, I'm not sure if he got a job at a institution for kids with special needs, or if he just went there and just studied them, but basically he observed them to actually prepare for the role, and prior to the role never used a chainsaw, and numerous times almost cut off his leg, especially the scene where Leatherface is chainsawing through the door, because me working at a sawmill, I've never used a chainsaw, but I know enough not to, try to go at things with the tip, because that causes the chainsaw to kick back, and that's how people get hurt. That happened during during that scene. Now for the development of the plot, the concept rose in the 1970s. Tobe Hooper was working as an assistant film director at the University of Texas in Austin as a documentary cameraman, and he was developing a story involving elements of isolation, the woods, and darkness, and then he took inspiration from the murders that Ed Gein committed, and then decided to add the film that you're about to see is true as a response to being lied to by the government about things that were going along in the world, including Watergate, the 1973 oil crisis, and the Vietnam War.
Is that
Hooper also noticed that watching local news, whose graphic coverage was epitomized by showing brains spilled out all over the road, led to his belief that man was the real monster here and just wearing a different face. So I put a literal mask on the monster in my film. And the idea of using a chainsaw as a murder weapon came to Hooper while he was in the hardware section of a busy store contemplating how to speed his way through a crowd. That just sounds healthy.
So does the I don't like gas prices going up, so let's make a murder film, but we can leave that alone too.
But Marilyn Burns ended up getting this role because she was studying at UT Austin with Tobe Hooper, and Tobe Hooper also knew the actor that played Jerry, and also Jim Cito, the guy that plays the old man. Doesn't say why they casted Gunnar Hansen, but but yeah, he actually did visit a special needs school, and just to watch how the students moved and spoke. Now, and the person that did the narration in the opening credits, John Larroquette, was apparently paid with marijuana.
Love that.
This movie is totally 1970s. Now, when this movie came out, it got like originally an X-rated. It led several minutes per cut and resubmitted to have an R rating, and
means less titties. What a crime!
It was also the 12th highest grossing film initially released in 1974, despite its minuscule budget. And obviously, this movie has been like controversial, despite the fact that it's not as bad as what the title would state, as in with like, you know, gore and violence.
Yeah, it's less of a massacre and more 5 teenagers who are being shitters, but you know.
Right.
Plus, there's barely even chainsaws.
However, this film in many periods has been banned in Britain, Brazil, Chile, Finland, France, Iceland, Ireland, Norway, Singapore, Sweden, and West Germany.
So that started to sound like the Animaniacs song where you're just naming all the countries.
Right. And also apparently the house that they filmed everything in was actually a real house that was condemned at the time. And apparently, I think, if I remember right, I think somebody fixed it up, and it's now like a bed and breakfast or some shit.
Love that.
Also, this movie spawned numerous sequels. The second movie Tobe Hooper actually did direct. However, he knew he couldn't top this movie, so he made the sequel into a parody.
It kind of seems like he did with the first one too, but who am I to judge?
All right. Now that being said, let's get into likes and dislikes.
Sure.
Oh wait, no, you got to do the plot for fucking.
Plot. Will be covered more in my dislikes, but the slasher film. That's the plot. Yeah, so
well, come on. The plot is that
the plot is five fucking teenagers just run around, they're stupid, and then they die to a guy. The family, whatever the fuck. It's a slasher film. Fuck off, Stallman. Anyway,
it's a guy defending his house from trespassers.
I would very much like to start with dislikes because I got a lot to fucking say. Look. I don't think it's a bad film necessarily. I mean, it's a slasher. You know what you're getting into. However, there's a whole lot of things in this movie that just make you ask why. So let's start with the obvious. Let's start with Leatherface, right?
Okay.
He doesn't fucking talk. He doesn't do anything. What's the purpose of making him mute with only pig sounds and masked and not looking like the rest of his family? Why?
It's creepy.
Yeah, okay. They didn't give him any sort of backstory. The family's creepy enough. The dude slashing his hand in the van and then being a fucking insane person as a hitchhiker is fucking creepy. I don't need a dude in a fucking pigskin mask to also be creepy. Like, it's just fucking... Why? Like, what?
Why not?
Because why? When you watch like slasher films, right, where there's like there's only one killer and he's in a mask and whatever else, it's like, okay, well, great. But they do so much to humanize this thing that they've worked so hard to dehumanize that you feel like, well, there has to be a point that he's in this mask and eventually you're going to unmask him and figure out who he is. This isn't a fucking Scooby-Doo episode. They put a fucking pigskin mask on him just to fucking do it. It's weird. It's weird. I get that the idea is to be creepy and uncomfortable and to make you ask like questions about like, why? What's the point? Like, but genuinely, what's the fucking point? There's so many things in this movie that just have no rationale as to why, other than because we said so. It's just kind of asinine, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, just to me, I just kind of overlook it.
It's good as a slasher. Don't get me wrong. Like there's the violence, there's the murders, there's the you came into my house, so here's a hammer for you and a chainsaw for you and your weird half lifeless but mostly dead corpse for the freezer. Like it's just Man, I get it. It's a slasher. There's not supposed to be a plot. It's just violent murders, and they do a good job at that. But like, there's so much that it's just like, okay, but if you didn't have this thing, it would be the same movie.
My thing is, it goes with that, but like, even there are a lot of slashers out there that have plots. Not so much as like a specific reason for each person being murdered, but they have backstory. They have a reason as to why they're there. This movie didn't. It kind of just said, hey, here's a bunch of people that, murder and eat people. So,
I'm not the horror movie buff. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm obviously the noob here, right? But the example that's coming to my mind is a film that I cannot name. I don't remember the title of it. I watched it with the Aussies. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning because it's the perfect time for a horror movie, right? It was this person in a fucking like rabbit mask with an axe that went around and murdered this house full of people. There was some like family reunion or something.
Next.
If you paid me, gun to my head, doesn't matter. Like, I couldn't tell you the title. But this person in a rabbit mask is walking through this gigantic fucking mansion, and for no reason other than murder, it walked through the house and systematically murdered everyone, right? You don't know the gender, you don't know the purpose, you don't know the backstory. It's just murder for the sake of being murder. Really great film. Loved it. Perfect slasher. This one is just like, okay, there's this family of fucking weirdo cannibal things that are really good at murder, and then as a trio, like a triplet of people, and then a corpse that they put a hammer in its hand, they can't murder this one girl who has to be exhausted from screaming for 78 consecutive fucking minutes without a breath of fucking oxygen. Okay? Like, it's so fucking ridiculous. It's just, why? Why do you have to go all of these extra steps to put effort into making it creepy when you could have just not and made the same fucking film?
Yeah, my thing is, I've watched this movie once before, long time ago. So watching it again made me realize how shitty it is. The acting is mediocre.
It's better than Halloween, I'll tell you that much.
Honestly, I'm gonna have it's debatable. It really is. From how I felt about Halloween, because I love Halloween, don't get me wrong. It's crappy, but I love the movie. This movie kind of is worse for me. Because just the screaming primarily was the biggest issue for me, because that was the majority of the movie. And it gave me a headache about 10 minutes in. I get it's supposed to be like, she's terrified. It's supposed to put you on edge. Okay. But it was awful and annoying. And then it's like the end of the movie when she's running away. First of all, the psycho hitchhiker dude could have grabbed her easily, but didn't.
Oh, Bubba could have grabbed her 8 fucking times if he didn't have to skid around the corner like a fucking cartoon turning a corner.
The next thing was when she stops the truck, they get in, and then they hop out the other side and run down the street.
Yeah, and then the truck driver, like, smacks the dude in the head and keeps running, doesn't get in the pickup truck that's there to rescue them. Like, just disappears from frame.
Just starts running.
He threw it at his head and sat there and stared at him, and then started running when he got up.
And didn't get in the getaway vehicle because they're fucking stupid. Again, why?
I get it, and it's like, it's a slasher movie. It's not supposed to be this perfect, plot-driven movie. But it could have been better. And just the stupidity of walking into some random person's house, first of all, for no reason. And then when I don't remember her name, but the girl went to go find her boyfriend who went inside the house, the first guy who died. She goes in, she falls over into the living room and sits there for about 15 minutes staring at everything instead of saying, oh, this is creepy, let's leave.
It was just a really good ad for his Etsy shop. Chill.
No, if I was making a list or listing these in order of like and dislike. I'm not really doing that because I love them all. But this one would be significantly under Halloween. I did not enjoy watching this movie.
I
It's
see
a
you.
classic.
I see you holding
but
back there, Stallman. I'm ready for your dissent.
Floor is yours.
I'll say. I mean, we're on dislikes. My couple of dislikes is that I believe that the chase scene in the dark goes on for way too long. I also
I'm
think
with you
that
on I'm with you on the going too long. The chase in the dark didn't bother me as bad as it did in other points. Like, it was also too long, don't get me wrong, but it was less egregious.
I also think that the whole old, grandpa trying to kill Sally and drop it in the bucket, that goes on for way too long. I think you could have made your point after like it doing it twice as opposed to like what 5 or 6 times that they try it.
Felt like 30.
Well, you run into one other thing that would have probably helped her is if she wasn't fucking screaming the entire time. She probably could have gotten away because he wouldn't have been able to hear her.
Well, she did get out of the way. But
or if one of the two able-bodied people was able to swing the hammer instead of trying to shove it in the dead guy's fucking hand, like that's the episode of fucking SpongeBob where it's firmly grasp it and they shove it through the cast. Like, anybody could have hit her and killed her. They didn't need Grandpa for this. Fucking...
Go ahead.
But anyway, and the other one is that a lot of the night shots, the lighting. Now, I don't know what, like, because I know you guys watched it on Plex. I unfortunately had to watch it on YouTube.
We actually watched it on Hulu. Or on Peacock.
Okay. So I'm not sure if yours was like a better print. I actually like got like rented the higher like resolution print, but like the lighting in a lot of cases at night is really bad. It's just pitch black where you just see the actors and then just faint little twigs and shit like that. So you don't really know exactly what's like.
I was actually going to save lighting for my likes. I know.
No. Hold on. Like, lighting in this movie for the most part is great.
No.
It's just that certain scene is that I don't really... I think it's kind of...
In that chase scene was one of my favorite parts. I know that objectively, it's bad. I know it's fucking abysmally bad. But I feel like it catered to the idea that all there is this chase. That it's genuinely her fighting for her life because you didn't get scenery. You didn't get background. You got herself, the very small obstacles in front of her, and the dude going with a chainsaw behind her. Like genuinely, I thought the lighting actually helped the drama of that scene. Like, that was some of my favorite parts of the lighting. I get what you're saying it, because objectively, bad.
Right.
But I liked it.
That being said, that's all my dislikes.
Well, then I am ready for your likes. Let me fight you on all of these.
All right. First of all, I love the fact that a lot of the lighting is focused on warm colors that really show off like the fucking summer Texas heat in this. I also love how like really like close up the camera is. Like, it just makes everything, even in like wide areas, like the camera is very, very zoomed into like the characters and just makes everything extremely claustrophobic. And I also like how this movie basically is designed to agitate and like arouse your anxiety due to whatever it's like different effects, different sound effects, different like camera shots, like, and then also the soundtrack. Like, everything is just to like ramp up your anxiety in this film, and with just everything just being shot and claustrophobic, I think just does a lot to add to the tension. I also do believe that there are a lot of cases, especially when the night scenes are lit up very, very well.
The scene in front of the van, especially.
It's beautiful. Yes. Yeah. The scenes in front of the van. Also, I like the fact that Franklin is a very, very unlikable, annoying son of a bitch. Because it just makes that chainsaw death, or to give a, Dead by Daylight reference, Franklin's fucking demise.
We joked
That
the
scene is
entire time that Bubba was an
beautiful.
M1 killer.
What?
We joked the entire time that that Bubba was an M1 killer.
But still, like, that fucking scene is great. And by the way, I have to link you guys a video. There was like worst horror film characters, and it was Franklin Hardacity, and it's just literally a video combining all the annoying shit that Franklin does. And then when it gets to the part where Leatherface is killing Franklin, you hear the Hallelujah chorus happening in the fucking background. So
Yeah.
And to me, that's what makes like a great slasher film, because like in Halloween, like the characters, like, yeah, they're a little bratty and some of them were kind of like a little bit annoying, but they weren't like to the point where you're just like
Rooting for them to
waiting
die.
for them to get
Yeah.
fucking murdered. While in this case with Franklin, you're just waiting for him to get murdered. And that's the thing is, like,
He wasn't that character for me. Not
Well,
him.
I mean, you just hated the screaming. I didn't think she was annoying until she started
I hated
screaming.
her. I hated her. I found her incredibly annoying, but it was more so when she was screaming for the hour and 20 minutes.
I will agree with you, Stallman, too, that I think that I actually really liked all of the characters in this, except for the 4 teenagers, not Franklin. Like, I think Franklin was kind of flushed out. You kind of watched him go crazy and annoy you so that you were rooting for his very violent death, right? Like, I mean, he served his purpose. He's a shitty character, but he served his purpose. Exactly what you wanted happened, and that's great for a slasher film. But, like, even the family full of fucking insane people, like, I really liked the father figure, I guess, is the best.
He's actually their older brother.
Oh, okay, whatever the fuck.
Which you don't find out until the sequel.
Even as the older brother, right? Like, you get the sense where, like, he's like, as the owner of the gas station, convenience store, whatever the hell it is, right? That, like, you get a sense of him being kind of creepy when he is just a normal character. When you recognize that he's a murderer, or part of the murderous family that cooks people, right? You get the development there. The turn towards insanity as he's prodding the fucking unconscious girl in the passenger seat of his truck, right? Like, that's a really cool development. The hitchhiker son, that's, you know, like, insane from the very get-go, and you see the blood and disfigurement of his face, right? And just the crazed insanity that he is. I think he's a flushed out character, right? Like, I think all of the villainous characters are really well built. They give you a rooting interest for a slasher film, which historically pretty fucking one-sided. So like, I think it's, I really think the characters were cool.
I do have to say this much. I like the fact that Leatherface actually is kind of someone that's sort of defending his home from trespassers. Because, like, you know, they each and every time someone comes in, and then by the time it's the third one, he just kind of like looks outside, just seeing if there's any more people, because he's just like, where are all these fucking people coming from? Like, he's just so like terrified that his house is being attacked. And because like he just seems kind of like not knowing what's going on. He's just going off of like by pure instinct, and it's really like interesting to kind of see that sort of going on. And I also like the fact that they really they foreshadow a lot during this. Like, you have like the horoscope, talk about the horoscopes, like something's bad happening because like Saturn, whatever.
Mercury's in Gatorade.
Yeah. And then they pick up the hitchhiker. The hitchhiker is like, well, I mean, I love how like they actually explain like why the kids are like, they're not just on vacation. They're checking to see if like their grandfather's grade has been messed with. And then on the way, they like, they check out like their grandfather's old house, and then wander off and be like, you know what? We should actually try to, since we're low on gas, I'm glad they didn't run out. Hate that fucking cliche. They're just low, and then, then they, have their demise with that. But I do like how everything kind of leads together. Like, it's like, yeah, there's all this grave robbing at the beginning, and then you see, like, the results of the grave robbing when you get inside, the Sawyer family house, the crazy family. You also get foreshadowing with, like, the horoscope, and then the hitchhiker gets picked up, and they all talk about the slaughterhouse. Well, more or less, like, everybody there is basically, they're, the teenagers are basically the cattle, while, the Sawyer family are the, slaughterers.
Leatherface is the cattle. He wears it on his head. Idiot.
And on top of that, Nubbins, the hitchhiker, also mentions, like, hey, you want to, like, it's like, hey, you guys can, like, eat at my, family's place, just up the road. And obviously, you have Sally there at dinner, being the final girl there, being probably served her friends. And when they get to the gas station, Drayton Sawyer is just like, hey, you want some barbecue? And I shit you not, if you actually look at the freaking, like, meat stick that Franklin has in his mouth, I'm pretty sure that's a penis. I am pretty fucking sure it is.
Stallman sees dicks everywhere. That's what I'm learning. I'll take your word for it. I don't need to go back and watch it, but
Okay.
I trust you.
Because, like, I watched this is actually the last movie that I've seen at a drive-in movie theater, and, like, I was talking to my cousin while he was still alive. While we were like, I'm just like, is that meat stick supposed to be what I think it is? He goes, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a penis. I'm like, thank you that I'm not the only person that saw that. So, if it's something that definitely looks like a human body part, it does, foreshadow that that they are eating people, and also serving people to other people.
I feel like,
and then also, again, Drayton goes, hey, don't be wandering, like, people's houses, because, like, people, will, show you that they don't like you snooping around their fucking property. And then, lo and behold, guess what happened?
saying I feel like I'm eating a barbecue hand would have served the same purpose, but
But you get what I'm saying. It's like everything kind of leads into
yeah, I
everything, and I think that's for what this movie is, like, I would not expect, like, that much detail put into it.
Yeah, it's one of my likes is the direction of the film, and like you said, I mean, the foreshadowing, they clearly had a plot in place. Like, it just kind of everything was very intentional, and I don't think it was in an overhanded way for being such a low budget, like, shoot
and in
film.
general, I think, like, the low budget really helps the movie, because, like, it's like how everything's kind of shot. It's almost shot like a documentary, like, not like, set up plot wise as a documentary, but I mean, like, like how the movie, like, cinematography wise is shot. And with this also, like, being in the 70s and exploitation films being, and this is very much an exploitation film, like the old, 70s film grain and everything that you see through that, I think really adds to, like, the creepiness and almost kind of like an old school, like, documentary feel of the movie.
Fair.
That I think, like, really just kind of adds to, I guess, a little bit of a sense of disbelief.
Sure.
And, like, the grittiness to the movie.
Hayley, your likes?
It's a classic.
Nailed
It's
it.
part of one of my favorite genres. It's Leatherface. I don't really have many likes this movie. I understood the goal of making things feel, like, creepy and put you on edge. I didn't get that feeling from this movie. It probably has a lot to do with that it's an older movie, but I forgot how much I didn't care for this movie. So.
Well, the like to end all likes. The best part of this film is the dude in the gas station who's washing the windows of the van. He is far and away the best part of this film because he picks up his fucking bucket like 5 different times, never actually wipes off the windshield, and they really send it home when after he's done washing the window for the last time, they put the camera through the windshield and you can see all the streaky spots of where he didn't dry the water off to get the video of the guy. And that's the best part of this movie. Genuine like, I loved it. It made me giggle so fucking hard. I was so happy I was muted as we were watching because I lost my shit. You guys got anything else before we wrap up?
I do have a fun fact. There is another notable movie that Gunnar Hansen is actually in, and that is this really, really like bad like science fiction horror film called Mosquito, which is about like giant mosquitoes attacking like a campground. And Gunnar Hansen's in this, and the climax of the film is literally like Gunnar Hansen, having a showdown with all like these mosquitoes with a chainsaw. And that is the only reason to watch it. Only reason to watch it. As a matter of fact, just fast forward it until that climax.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up for this one. Thanks again, Hayley, for picking the movie. Thanks for hanging out and watching okay, well, thanks for watching the podcast. If you're watching.
Okay, oddly enough, I honestly think this is the best horror film that we've seen so far.
I mean, it might be close to the top, but I'm going to leave that alone. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging out. You should hop into Discord and watch more movies with us. We usually watch on Tuesdays, but we post about it. It's going to be late whenever it is. That's the joke around here. And then you can also catch us all on Twitch. Stallman at Traductus, Hayley at Hayley_bug18, myself at Ted Green Eagles. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you here tomorrow.
Bye.
Later.